What's up, guys? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Hirokazu Kore-eda's Broker, new film that I adored. Want to get into why I love this movie so much. It's really tremendous, and I'd really been anticipating this movie. Koreeda's 2018 film, Shoplifters, which won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, I loved. Thought that was tremendous. That movie got a lot of attention, a lot of love. And Broker, his second film since then, is a Korean film. Koreeda, of course, Japanese, but this is a Korean film set in modern day Korea. And man, this has a lot of those shoplifters vibes in terms of very familiar themes and characters. Chosen families, people on the edge of the law, things like that. Very familiar in a great way if you're a fan of shoplifters. And honestly, I thought it was just a really warm, melancholic, kind, and moving film. And I was so happy I saw. I'd really been waiting for this to come out. I mean, it came out, last summer in Korea after premiering at Cannes 2022. So it's been a while to get to a U.S. release with Neon, but it's finally here. And yeah, I mean, I think right off the bat, obviously, Kang-ho is like the big acting star. He's the name, right? People know him from his director Bong collaborations, most recently, of course, in Parasite. And he won Best Actor at Cannes for this role in Broker. And he is predictably really great. He has, I think a strong presence as an actor in terms of giving you a uh, comedic performance when the role requires that, but also has a lot of heart, a lot of uh, kindness, and also a lot of anguish that he can really give you as an actor. Just a total talent, as people know, and he's really great in this movie. And he plays Sang Hyun, who is one of the titular brokers. Him, along with his friend Dang Soo, played by Gang Dong Wang, they are illegal brokers, people who take unwanted children and sell them to people who are trying to adopt a kid, but also, avoid the bureaucracies and the legalese of the legal adoption process. And what happens in Broker early on here in Busan is a young mother, uh, So Young, played by Lee Ji-eun, aka the K-pop star IU. So Young puts her newborn Woo-sung puts her newborn in a baby box at a church, a place to give an unwanted kid into the care of the church. Usually leads to an orphanage. Maybe that kid will get adopted one day. It's a thing. And our two brokers kind of take the kid from the box and wish to sell him off. And to them, they're being altruistic. They're finding people that want this kid, and of course they charge a fee, so everybody wins. And I think what's really cool about this movie is So Young kind of catches up to them early on and kind of joins uh, the brokers on the road as they seek to find a buyer for this kid. And, it's really interesting. This is a movie effectively about like well intentioned like child trafficking, because it technically is trafficking, right? But to have the mother be there with these brokers who are trying to find the right fit for this kid, they're not just giving him to the first person who wants him. They're trying to find someone genuine and also not get lowballed with the price too. It's very interesting, and that dynamic that forms early on is really cool. And at the same time, these brokers are being watched by these two female cops who are kind of on the run, or on the trail of these brokers trying to catch them in the act. So this becomes a very quickly an elaborate road movie as we leave Busan and we travel throughout greater Korea via car. And you have these cops kind of tailing them as well, and there's almost like a buddy cop dynamic with them in the car. Very interesting, very fun. And I think the next best piece about this is that very quickly, once we hit on the road with the brokers and So Young, we go to an orphanage, and that's where Dong Su actually is from. He is an orphan himself. You see all these kids, and you meet some people that Dong Sung knew back in the day. And once they leave the orphanage, a kid from the orphanage, Haijin, uh, like an 8-year-old, he stows away in their car, and like this added dynamic of this like thrown together family. And I think it's like a real blast to kind of be with them. The movie never gets like overly like melodramatic or overly sentimental. I think the way it builds, and it doesn't have like a clean ending by any means, but the way it builds, I think is really satisfying just because it feels really warm. um, just the themes of like community and loneliness versus abandonment and those kind of things. Movie really, I think, progresses through that point, and Koreeda, to his credit, handles very sad, difficult, complicated themes without getting too preachy, without getting too melodramatic. And I think that's what's so great about this. The way it was so great in Shoplifters, where he's able to, I think, kind of give you a lot, and he doesn't really moralize either. Of course, we're talking about a mother giving away her child. Abortion obviously would come up in this context as well, and there's not really a judgment passed on from the point of view of the film broker, which I think is important as well. These things are complicated enough that you kind of just left to sit with everything as you go on this journey with these characters. But the characters are richly drawn enough and richly acted enough that everything kind of works out by the end in a really satisfying way. I have to say too, yeah, Lee Ji-eun, who plays So Young, uh, really great performance. I know IU, in addition to being K-pop star, has been an actor for a long time, but she really carries the film as a softer spoken mother figure who, of course, is much more mysterious in the beginning of the film. But ultimately, that performance really grounds the film and helps propel it forward. And without that performance working, Broker probably wouldn't work as well. So really, hats off to her for being not a full time actor. I think she really crushed it in this role. There's just a lot of funny moments too. Like there's a moment in the car wash. There's a moment with a Ferris wheel. Broker, despite having a lot of difficult stuff at the center of it thematically, has some really choice humor throughout that really lands. And I saw in the theater, and there was not a lot of people in the theater with me, but there was a lot of laughs at those moments. They all really hit, which was great. Uh, yeah, I would say definitely seek out Broker. Obviously, Koreeda movie should go without saying you got to see it, but I think this is a complete gem. Notably, it's not in the Oscar mix. Japan and Korea both submitted different movies. Of course, Korea submitting Decision to Leave, so it's not in the Oscar mix for Best International Feature. But it got that love it can, and I think obviously people know to check this out. And I assume that Broker in the years to follow will have a long life in terms of like acclaimed international cinema, as you'd expect coming from Korea. And we know his next film, he will be returning to Japan, which is exciting. So check out Broker. Leave a comment. Let me know, what did you think of the movie. Are you excited for Korea's next film? And for more movie reviews, subscribe because I'll see you next time.